AWS IAM service. Okay, so IAM service is one of the very important services in AWS, especially for the beginners to get familiar with. So the IAM role basically is to gain or grant access to some particular user, some particular services. Okay, so we go to the security and identity tab and then go IAM. Okay, so then we're gonna have this console open here. At the very beginning, this our new account has only a root. Okay, and we are now acting as a root user. So if I want to assign the resources and access to different users in the team, right? Let's see if we have a company and we want to assign the access, or give the access to the DBAs, to the developers, to the data engineers. Okay, so different kind of users, then we can create users from here. Okay, so very important. The user of IAM is not the end client, okay, customer. The user of IAM is the internal team members, okay, of the development of the company, because you can have direct access to AWS resources. Basically, they can start and restart and stop the servers, right? They can delete the data from the database directly. So this is the user in the IAM. Okay, so if you want to have a user pool like for the end clients, right? We have other technologies to do that, like OAuth, like LDAMP. In AWS, we have a Cognito. Okay, so then the Cognito service is the AWS service for user management, user pool. Okay, so this is for the end customer, okay, users. But for the IAM, this is used for the internal team. You can think of, right? It's the user who can access the AWS directly. Okay, and also the users are not only human beings. It could be a he, a she, or it. All right, so it could be a software. It could be a third-party system. It could be anything that want to access AWS resources directly. Okay, so maybe a refrigerator, maybe a microwave. So as long as you have the credential, then you can access AWS using command line, using SDK, using REST API, or using console. Right, the console is for human beings for sure. So we have a couple of concepts here. We're not going to talk all about that, but for the user, already know, okay, this should be a user, right? A person or a machine or a software, a third party. And then we have a role, okay? So role is IAM, role is identity that you can create and has a specific permission with the credentials that are valid for short durations, okay? So basically what this is used for is, this is not used for people. This is used for some other services want to access other services, like service A want to access service B, right? We have a lot of services here. By default, they cannot do whatever they want, right? For security reason. Then we can assign some particular roles to the service A. So the service A will assume this role and then access the service. Okay, so then later on we can just disable or revoke the rule, so then the service cannot access that service, right? It's like if when I have a server, the server want to upload, download files from other services. Okay, then the file could be in S3, okay, could be in other storages. So in that case, we can just tell the server that, hey, you just need to apply this rule, then you can go ahead and download the files from S3. Okay, so this is used for rules. It's a little bit different from the a traditional user and the rule relationship, right? So usually, a user will have a rule, the rule will do something, but this is not the case in AWS. This user will not have rules. User will only have a policies. Okay, so then this is the next one. What is policy? The policy applies to rules and the users. The policy also can be directly append to the services in AWS. What does it do is it declares what or who can do what. Okay, like you can see, for example, this AWS Amazon RDS full access. Okay, you can just open it and you'll see the statement indicate effect of allow. We allow the action of RDS everything, right? So everything on this RDS service, okay, could be done, could be allowed upon any resource. Okay, so this is one of the statement. The next statement and then the third statements. Okay, so this is all about to grant the access, okay, against RDS service, we can give whoever has this policy will have the access to RDS. Okay, then we append this policy to rules, then whoever assume this rule will have a full access to RDS. We append the policy to a particular user, then that user will have all the access to RDS. All right, so then this is the policy. We have a JSON statement, okay, to indicate like what this policy declares or grant the access to whom, okay, against whom, okay, and what kind of action and what's the effect. We can have allow or deny, okay, and we just give this policy to different user or different rules or different services directly. Okay, so that's the policy concept. Those three concepts are very simple, but it's just, if you already have some user management experience, you probably will misunderstand this rule here. Okay, so let's create a new user. You will see. Okay, add a new user, and then we can just give a name. Let's see, we call it developer, right? User, and then here for this user, okay, we can see what type of user this is gonna be. Okay, so we have AWS access type. Access key or password. Access key is for programmatic access. Password is for management console. Okay, so we already created this new account. Once we create a new account, we have this access for console, right? So this is the website console used for human beings, right? People that can use mouse and keyboard. Access key, programmatic access. This is used for API, CLI, SDK. Okay, so if you want someone who can only use command line, okay, to interact with AWS, then just only check the access key. Don't check the password. If you want to integrate this user with a third-party framework or tools, then you just give access key. Okay, that's it. So you don't need to give password because it's gonna be a machine who is using this user. Okay. All right, and let's just do both, and we can have a customized password. You can just put some password there, or automatically generate one. And the user must create a new password at the first sign in, right? So then everything good, and then we next. Here we can just give permissions. Okay, so these permissions are equivalent to policy you can think of, right? So the permission is like what this user can do. Yeah, either we create a new group. Right, we don't have any new group yet, but you can think of a new group will have a policies append to it, so that we just assign the user to that group, then automatically all the user in the same group will have the same policies. Okay. Next is copy the existing ones. We don't have any, so it's just leave it there. Okay, we can attach existing policies directly, or we can create a new policy if you want. Okay, so now let's see, for this time being, we're just gonna grant administrator access. Okay, so if you look at administrator access, it's very simple. It will allow, okay, all the actions to all the resources, right? So very simple enough. This is the administrator access. Basically, it's like whatever you do, you can do, okay? So, and then we're gonna append this policy to this user, right? Then this user will become a administrator. Okay, so the next is the tag. The tag is mainly used for organization tracking and the control access, okay, for this purpose. We're going to have a lot of different tags field in the AWS resources. Mainly they are used for organization query tracking, right? Just like we want to analyze the cost, okay, by the tags. Let's see if I want to use a tag called department, okay, so then this user belongs to HR, right? Then I'm going to create a next tag. Or next user, and next user department is IT, for example, right? So then by the time I want to have a final report, I will see how many users are in department, how many users are in IT, right? So that we can just categorize them by department key of the tags. Also for cost analysis, also we can do the same. All right, so next is to just review. Everything looks good, and we have a policies, and then create the user. Then the new user will be created, and just to keep in mind, just download this first of all, because this is the last time you will be able to download it. Means that if I go back, okay, no longer will see this key and the password. Okay, those will be gone. So make sure that you download this, or you can just send an email to the user so that they get an attachment, okay, about this username password. Okay, let's just open it, and it will look like this. So username, password, okay, the password, and then access ID, okay, secret access key, and this is the login URL. Let me just make it larger, bigger. Okay. Yeah, you don't have to remember it. I will delete it after this video because this is for my account, right? So now actually whoever has those two keys, okay, can use CLI to access my AWS account, okay, with administrator's access. So we're going to talk about the CLI later on, but now let's just try to log in our user using the username password. Okay, so let's go back to the browser and go to sign out, sign in, and then here we don't use a user anymore, use IAM user here, and then we can give an account alias. Okay, if you don't remember the alias, just go to this link, okay, just use this link. All right, so it will automatically fill in the account ID, right, so the same idea here. And then we're gonna have a developer user and then password. Okay, password is this one. Copy, paste, sign in. Okay, first time need to change the password. So we change the password and make sure you remember it. Okay, confirm. All right, so now you can see we logged in as a developer user. All right, and we can also change the zones. We can also access all the services. Everything is there. Okay, so you know, no errors, nothing, you know, prevent me from doing anything else. So that's, you know, just basically administrator's user. Okay, I would suggest to you to create an IAM user with administrator privilege. Okay, and oops, let's go to IAM. All right, now you can see we have one user, okay, listed here, and the last activity, and the password age, okay, active key age. If you click on the user here, and if you look at the security credentials, for here we can actually also change the permissions. Okay, if you want, you can just append new permissions, new policies to this user. And also for this one, okay, so this access keys credentials, you can see here we already have the access key ID, which is the exact like this one we just downloaded, but the secret access is only here. Okay, so on the website we don't have it, and you cannot recreate this secret. You can only delete it and then create a new one. Each account can have only two. Okay, we can create another one. We have another access key. Okay, remember to download it, okay, because this is the last one we see this secret key. If we create it and then you can see I didn't download, right? So then it's gone, right? So then nobody will retrieve it from me. So in this case I can delete it. Okay, so I can just deactivate it first and then delete it. Okay, so it's not this one. It's this copy. Delete. Oops, delete. All right, so then let's delete it. All right, so that's it for to create a user, and for the user group or for the rules, they are almost the same idea. So I'm not gonna repeat it again, but we will be back for the CLI access. Okay, using those two keys. Thanks.